As for the usability on this one, this is where the Neo Stream and I have some disagreements. The IFI Neo Stream is a thin little aluminum book-shaped streamer. It's a premium price product coming in at around $1,300 retail. And maybe the book shape comes to mind because it can be used horizontally or placed on the included stand for vertical use if you might be a bit limited on space. And I'm going to come out and say this one right away. It has all kinds of tech and interesting features, but I did run into some things that really bothered me. Stick around and we'll get into both the good and some of the annoyances I ran into. How that balances out, I'll leave that one up to you. I'm honestly a bit torn. The flexibility on the Neo is nice for tight placements on places like your desk, where I feel like this one really should live. The reason I feel like this, it's best suited for your desktop, is because the screen is, well, it's tiny. You're not really reading this from across the room. In all honesty, I have to get pretty up close and personal with this one to really read it. I'm kind of in the party of either go all in and make a big screen or don't even bother. There isn't room on this one for a bigger screen, so I guess it's really the only option here. You don't require the screen for much on this one, but it is involved with some of the settings as well as your track info. And you might be squinting a bit to see some of that album artwork. Today I want to talk about the design, features, sound quality, and the actual usage, as that's my number one thing for a streamer. How simple is it to use, and does it provide a good user experience? If it takes 10 steps to play a song, you might as well just forget it. At that point, it's more of a distraction than something that is intended to simplify your life with mass amounts of music at your fingertips. I also want to let everyone know right away before getting into this that IFI did send this out to me for review. They didn't pressure or persuade in any way. All thoughts and opinions are my own, and this unit will be returned post-review as well. That being said, please like and subscribe for more down-to-earth, honest reviews like this. As the size of this one is quite small, it's of no surprise that the power supply is external. I can't think of any IFI products that actually use an internal supply that I've had in. This one comes with the iPower X, which is actually $109 on Amazon alone. I haven't compared this one back to back with anything else, so all I can say there is it's well reviewed and it does claim really low noise. IFI has a number of power supplies they sell. This one is sort of in the middle of their lineup behind their premium offering, the IFI Power Elite. I actually had that one in as well when I reviewed their Pro ISD signature, and that's one of the things I really do appreciate with IFI. They tend to throw in all their gizmos with their premium products. For example, this one also comes with OptiBox. We're going to take a quick break to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Aura. If you too are being bombarded with robo and spam calls regularly, I feel ya. I'm in the same boat, and it's not just the calls. They text you too. That lost package, malicious links, or the car warranty that you don't want or even need. We know they're not going to stop, so it's really up to us to do what we can to take our information back. Have you ever heard of a data broker? It's a business that gathers information from a variety of sources, processes it, and then prepares to sell it to other organizations with the primary purpose of targeted marketing, like robocalls. In all likelihood, they know your birthday, your religion, your income, your address, your shopping habits, basically everything they have no business knowing. I personally don't like the idea of random people, companies, or even hackers having access to my personal data. And this is where Aura, today's sponsor, can help. Aura will automatically send removal requests on your behalf during the free 14-day trial. Really nothing to lose here. It's a great deal. You get an app and a service that really does the work of several all in one. You get a service that cleans up your online presence. It works behind the scenes to get you removed from these data brokers, which in turn can reduce these robocalls and texts. Credit alerts, so you get alerts for anyone trying to open up a credit card with your information. A VPN for safe browsing, keeping you anonymous and encrypted. Virus and malware protection on your computer, as well as your mobile device. A password manager. Keep things organized in one protected location. Even helps you manage what your kids can and can't do on their devices. You can restrict apps, screen time limits, provide windows of use. Take your personal data back. Just click on the link in my description. Go try Aura for 2 weeks absolutely free. And if you like it, keep using it. There's really a lot offered here, and it's worth a shot. Again, the link is https://aura.com/Kuykendall, and it's linked below in my description. Nothing to lose here. Put your information in and see what comes up. Slow down these robocalls and get protected. Now let's get back to the video. And that's a high-speed optical transceiver. It's IFI's own little creation. The basic function here is that it's able to change an incoming network data stream from RJ45 over to optical. And what that's going to do is basically give you a very clean connection, true galvanic isolation with zero parasitic capacitance and inductance. Think power interference and simply noise. Don't fall into the belief or think that I'm saying that this in some way is able to clean up your digital data, because, well, that's not possible. It's just moving the data across a medium, light in this case, that won't be subject to noise. It's actually a pretty cool design. I gave it a try in my system and I didn't notice any immediate effect, but your mileage may vary depending on your own unique setup and challenges. And that's what's kind of fun with IFI products as well. It seems like they're always throwing some features or some add-ons, and they let you really tinker and fine-tune your gear. The other way to achieve this isolation would be to simply use the Wi-Fi. It includes 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. The drawback there is going to be the connection speeds. Also, setting up the wireless wasn't as cut and dry as using the Ethernet or the OptiBox. I actually had a little bit of trouble in what I thought should have been really simple. The procedure here is to enable the hotspot on the device, which I might add is only used for setup purposes. It supplies an IP address you connect to, or you can use their IFI streaming app. The problem I ran into is I wasn't able to connect to either the IP after connecting to their IFI hotspot with either the address or the application. It eventually took a factory reset, and since then I have not experienced any connection issues reaching that setup menu. If you've ever used a Volumio-based product before, it's all going to look very familiar, as this is based off their software. I'm personally not the biggest fan in this case, but thankfully this offers full Tidal Connect and Spotify Connect integrations. For my use, I'll be using primarily Tidal Connect, as well as testing out the AirPlay connectivity for non-supported apps like Amazon Music. Over the past year, my view on streamers has shifted a lot. I think for a lot of people, honestly. A few budget options came to the market and they really threw a wrench in it for a lot of the competitors. I used to be okay and just accepted glitches are part of the life dealing with streaming audio. But now that I've experienced some insanely budget options that also have some of the best software, I just find it unacceptable to bring a premium price product to the market with bad software. Because let's face it, if your streaming software provides a bad experience, you're unlikely to be bothered even using it. My case in point there is I owned an Audiolab 6000N that used PlayFi as the streaming platform. I found myself using it less and less until the point it just remained unplugged and out of the loop, and it's since been sold. Today, the IFI Neo Stream actually doesn't have a dedicated streaming app, so is this good or bad? In this case, I'm going to call it goodish. While I would appreciate a thought-out, feature-rich app, as they can provide so much, I would rather not use something half-baked and clunky, so in this case, none works as I can simply use things like Tidal Connect and take full benefit of their software. IFI relies on third parties for their music streaming services, Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, as well as offering AirPlay 2 for iOS users. Android or Windows, you're going to be using DLNA or UPnP. Roon users are also welcome here. The player is Roon ready as well. The build quality on this unit is really top notch. It has a premium feel with a good amount of weight to it. One thing I can point out is that I really appreciate the finish on it. It's a very nice silver finish over the aluminum that doesn't take on fingerprints like so many pieces of gear. Now to give you a quick rundown on the front and the back on this, we have the display, the multifunction volume knob, that's also used to navigate the settings, a network status light that shows the status as well as the speed, the menu and output selector, the power switch, as well as USB-C input and output. Flipping it to the rear, and this is where we get a little bit crazy. The power connection, the M12 Ethernet input, which is certainly not very common. It's more of an industrial locking type of Ethernet connection. Then the Ethernet port, as well as the optical for the OptiBox, and the USB system update port below it. You do have some options for the system update. A simpler method is to simply update over the app. Then we have a couple of USB ports that boast their ANC2 active noise cancellation tech, I2S for particular users. The Denafrips crowd often discusses that one. A 4.4 balanced connection that does require a special cable to go from 4.4 to balanced, and it's not really the cheapest, but it's a nice feature to add, and 4.4 was really the only option here with the space provided. Then we simply wrap it up with RCA, coax, optical, and AES EBU. They basically packed everything they could possibly get in the back of this, and that's where a lot of the excitement is with this product. It's very much so a connection and techie type product. Me personally, I'd likely skip the M12 and add a little bit more on the input side. Give a little bit more preamp functionality. So how does this one sound? Well, as a streamer, it sounded really good. It's transparent, it passes along the audio exactly like it should. The Bird Brown DAC in this one is a 4-channel design and supports PCM 768 as well as DSD 512, so it's certainly not a slouch in that category. There's certainly some generalizations that are thrown around with Bird Brown DACs, generally that they sound a bit on the warmer side. I get that, and I've experienced it as well, but I think it goes beyond that generalization, and really we need to key in how well it was implemented, and in this case, the DAC section appears to be implemented really well. I can't say this jumps out to me as anything warm or colored. It's just a nice clean and what I guess I would describe as colorless sound. I think as far as highlights go on this product, it's really close between the connections offered and the actual sound quality. In this case, I would likely chalk this up to good isolation and filtering, as well as a well-implemented DAC that didn't intrude on the natural sound most people are looking for. And if you do need to play around with the sound a bit more, they do have 4 filter options: standard, minimum, GTO, and bit perfect. They do alter the sound a bit. It's not a large amount, but you might want to test these out a bit and see where you land. It's definitely going to be a personal preference there. As for the usability on this one, this is where the NeoStream and I have some disagreements, especially over Wi-Fi. When it works well, but I've had multiple incidences where I simply can't connect to it. It won't give me an option to connect to Tidal Connect or Amazon Music over AirPlay. Then I fiddle with it a bit or reboot it, and suddenly the connections are available and everything is butter. But I can't explain why. I hope this is simply a firmware update away from cleaning this up, but at this moment, it's hit or miss if I can even connect to it on an iOS device. When it works well, as it's just working through Tidal Connect for streaming, so the experience is very good. But if I can't connect, well, I obviously can't use it. My experience over the wired connection is better. I've had a couple of strange dropouts during the initial connection, but it does appear to be much more stable than the wireless. And it's not like I'm stretching my network too far or anything like that. I have a mesh network with great coverage across my entire house. So all I can say here is until there's a firmware update, I would strongly suggest this to be used wired. So now we have to decide if a great DAC implementation and possibly the most connections I've ever seen on a device of this size is enough. Let's start with the good. It sounds great. It looks great. It uses all the latest tech, basically filters on everything important, covering all of your noise issues. A better than average power supply, a lot of things that people look for when buying new gear. And now the not so greats, which I want to start off by saying I really hope can be addressed with software updates. It's just that this isn't a new product, so I really feel like these should have already been addressed prior to this. And point number 1 is obviously the connection availability issues. Sometimes I simply can't connect over Wi-Fi to Tidal Connect or AirPlay. It's random, but it's unacceptable. The connection is improved over wired connections, as I mentioned earlier, but I had a few dropouts there as well during the initial setup. The unit is also a bit more sluggish than I would expect. When I change a song, it can take several seconds for the art to update on the screen. I attempted to turn off the other sources and lock it into Tidal Connect only, but that didn't really show any improvement in that area either. So point number 2, this device is very much so connection rich, but it's missing out on some of the inputs we need to use this as a preamp. I would have skipped things like the M12 connection and added a bit more input functionality, as well as included a remote. Finally, I'd just like to really see them branch out beyond a modified version of Illumio. Open yourselves up to the vast array of capabilities that many of the new streaming apps offer. That's it. That's my take on the IFI Neo Stream. It was an interesting ride and not meant to diminish IFI in any way. I actually use one of their turntable preamps in my current setup and I really enjoy it. As far as the video today, I just need to call it as I see it. If you could please take a moment to like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And that's all for today. Take care. Later.